Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to the English Right Now podcast with me, your host, it is Roy. And today we're going to be talking about Gen Z, or maybe Gen Z slang, the slang that's kind of dominating the youth of today. And we're also going to talk about slang and its impermanence. But joining me today is my dear friend, Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Roy.
Welcome. Today we're going to test your knowledge of Gen Z, Gen Z. Why do I stumble over this? Do you say Gen Z or Gen Z?
It's interesting, isn't it? And normally I would say Z as opposed to Z, but Gen Z seems to have a flow to it, doesn't it? Gen Z.
Yeah. Of course, Generation ZZ. Generation. If you come to the UK, please call that letter Z. But in this case, you can do. Gen Z basically refers to people born roughly around the mid to late 90s, maybe 1997 to around 2012. But of course, we're talking about the slang that's getting used by that age group right now. And it's quite common on social media platforms, TikTok, all these kind of things. You hear these words. Slang and idioms, people often sort of confuse these. Idioms are more a fixed expression that often stays in the language a lot longer. A slang term, it can be quite impermanent. It can like come and go very, very quickly. But some of it stays forever. So for example, what does knackered mean?
Knackered means tired. It always has done, hasn't it? Yes.
Yeah. What's a chinwag?
A chat, a talk.
So these are examples of slang that have pretty much stayed in the language. Whereas some other ones, I'm going to pick up some 90s ones, see how if we can remember that. Do you remember talk to the hand? Talk to the hand.
I do. Yes.
What
talk to the hand means I'm not listening to you.
Yeah. Talk to I think it was like talk to the hand because the face ain't listening or something. And it was would you say that these days? Talk to the hand?
I wouldn't, no.
It's gone. It's gone. It makes us sound a bit old, and I think as well.
It does. It dates you, doesn't it, Roy? It makes you say, that's it. It makes you sound old because you're using an old expression. It's been interesting though, isn't it? How they come and go. So you've got another one.
Yeah. Fat. Like PHAT, not FAT. Fat. Oh, that is so fat. Do you remember that one?
I do, but I can't remember what that actually meant. So enlighten me.
It was used for quite cool or excellent or something maybe pretty hot or tempting, like, oh, that car is fat, or that's a fat car. Again, this is one I wouldn't really use these days. It sounds a bit dated.
Well, it's a bit like using the word, I mean, I'm going to show my age now, but it's, I used to say things were wicked. Now that's wicked, that car, you know.
That's really cool.
Really cool, yeah. Wicked.
But I still use that, and I think that one's still in the language. I think wicked is still in the language. Maybe not used as much as it once was, but wicked still, I had a wicked day out. I think that one still gets used. You know, an alternative to wicked that got used in the 90s was something like sick. Oh, that is sick. Maybe a bit later, maybe more sort of around the millennium. I wouldn't use sick anymore. I think that's kind of gone. Oh, I had a sick day out. It sounds a bit dated.
Yeah. But it's interesting, though, isn't it? It's interesting, though, where these words come from and why they disappear as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think slang, I think the thing about slang, and it's different to idioms, is slang is very generational. So we have our generation slang. Gen Z has their slang. My son, who's Gen Alpha, eventually is going to start using slang words that I can't even imagine right now, because his generation will invent new words and he'll have to say, Dad, this means this. But we're going to talk about some Gen Z slang now. And we're going to basically, let's be honest, if we know exactly what it means or it doesn't. You know, I will be honest as well. I've got the list. So it's a test for both of us. Yes. But what I would say is maybe people of our age, maybe people should maybe not try to use some of the Gen Z slang, as it might sound like we're trying to be too cool or sort of too youthful, that we're not really acting our age. That's another thing. It's interesting to learn what they mean because we're going to hear them on TV, we're going to hear them everywhere, but maybe not use them so much.
And some of these words, yeah, absolutely. I say some of these words go viral, don't they, through social media, and that's probably why they get used so much. But as you say, yeah, I think if it doesn't feel natural to use those words, don't use them. You know, if you feel you're a bit sort of too old for them, or it just doesn't come out of your mouth, I don't think you should use them, really.
Yeah, I think so. Some of them I'm about to use on this list, actually, I think are older, not necessarily Gen Z, but they've become popular again, maybe. And that's another thing. Slang comes back sometimes. But the first one I want to ask you, if you know what it means, is the CEO of something. The CEO of something.
Well, normally a CEO is a boss of a company, traditionally.
Yeah.
So does it have something to do with being the boss,
Yeah.
the best, the top?
Yeah, the best. It's got the idea that you've mastered something or you're a pro at something. This one I have heard. Like people say, oh yeah, I'm the CEO of social media. I'm the CEO of English TV. This kind of thing. I wouldn't necessarily use it. It sounds like a oh well, as the current generation would say, a weird flex, but okay. Which is it's sort of a weird brag, a strange brag, but okay. I wouldn't use it. I think it would sound unnatural for me to say, yeah, I'm the CEO of teaching English. Oh, it sounds very forced, but I know what it means, and well done there for getting that one. Another one is fam. Fam. You right, fam?
Yeah, I have heard this one, and that's just a shortened version of saying the family, isn't it? Or as in a group
Yeah.
of your family. So it's
But
fam.
we also use it as a replacement for bro these days. Apparently, I wouldn't use this. I think this one started in London, and it was like an alternative to mate or bro, as we would use in the millennial period. Was like, you're right, bro. These days, it's more fam. Again, I understand it. I know it. Probably wouldn't use it. So
Yeah. We're not
yeah,
talking about necessarily the traditional family. So they're
no
not just saying mum, dad, brother, sister. Fam as in a group of, friends. Could be your fam.
friends of the family you choose,
Yeah.
and in that case, you're the greatest auntie I've ever had.
Thank you.
So that's a quote from Spaced, one of my favorite TV shows ever. You definitely have to check it out if you haven't. So another one that I really didn't know is Stan. Stan. Any
Could
idea?
that be Stan short for stand in, as in a replacement? So you're very similar to that person you're Stan for. So Stan's short for
I
Stan.
love your logic. No,
No.
it's not even short for Stanley. It's a combination apparently of stalker and fan. So it's like
Okay.
a fan that's becomes a bit too obsessed with maybe a band, maybe a social media influence or something like this. They've gone to the point where it becomes a bit too much. I wonder if it comes from the Eminem song "Stan," where I wonder if that's kind of a link, or maybe it's not because it's like it's a combination of stalker and fan. But it seems to be linked because "Stan," the song by Eminem, was about an obsessive fan. So I wonder if I don't know, but apparently that's what it is. So if you meet somebody who says, "I'm your greatest stan," or "I'm a stan for you, Rob," run.
Yes, I will.
The next one again surprised me, and it is dank. 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 What does that mean?
Well, again,
Probably shouldn't have told you. It surprised me.
okay. I say traditionally, dank. You would say something is dank when it's dark and damp and it's
And
miserable.
horrible.
Yeah. So that's the closest understanding I would have for the word dank. But you're going to tell me I'm wrong, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, and I'm really surprised by this one because I would say, oh my goodness, look at that horrible old building. It's really dank. It's like dirty, and that's the literal meaning. But apparently, dank for Gen Z means excellent or of very high quality. So
The
your performance
opposite.
today is dank, Rob. Apparently, I don't know. That one doesn't sit with me very well. Surprising?
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised because it's such an opposite meaning to what I thought.
Yeah.
But I probably won't use that one either.
No, I think we'd sound like we're trying to be cool. And
Yeah.
but then maybe it's the idea of sick being cool and sick being ill. Like we had our own version of it. Maybe that's wicked
Yeah.
meant very bad, but wicked meant very good. So maybe dank is that kind of thing. We're judging it because we know what a word meant. Whereas wicked, when we got into it, was like, oh, wicked cool and wicked great. So maybe it's the same idea. It's just another generation's version of our ridiculous slang. Next one is basic. You're basic. You are basic. Or I am basic. Or she is basic. What does basic mean?
Basic, I would have thought means maybe simple, maybe not very intelligent, maybe, or basic.
Yeah, basically, I think it means somebody who prefers products, sort of mainstream products, nothing kind of independent or cool. They're very much like mainstream products, mainstream trends. They're very much sort of mainstream music. They don't have any kind of deviation from the norm. They're very kind of basic. Yeah, would you use basic to describe a human being if you at a push?
I think I would actually.
Yeah,
'Cause it sums up certain
I
people.
don't think that would make us sound like we were trying to be something we weren't. I think that's a word that we could use that would sound a bit more natural. Next one
Yes.
is one I know, but one I would never
Yeah.
use. Cap.
Cap.
To cap. Or don't
Well,
cap.
That's interesting. Again, going back to my understanding of the word cap, there's a cap you can wear, of course, or you might say to cap it all, to finish it all off. Anywhere close?
No. No cap.
No
It
cap.
means to lie. Cap means to lie. Would you use cap?
I don't think I would. I still haven't fully understood the meaning of it, really, Roy.
Lie.
So careful.
To cap is to lie, and it sounds like a verb. To lie.
Cap. Okay.
Cap can also be a lie, I suppose. It's basically a word that means lie.
Lie. Yeah. I'll stick with lie.
Yeah, I think I will. Or fib, which is a small lie. Two more. Red flag.
Well, a red flag is often a warning. So is this somebody who is either somebody maybe if somebody's red flagged, you avoid them or they're dangerous?
Yeah. This is one I think has been around longer because I actually use this one. I say it's a red flag or her behavior is a red flag. And it often refers to, or his behavior is a red flag. It behaves to some kind of toxic personality trait, something negative that somebody does, negative behavior. So if we go on a meeting to the pub and you drink my drink and your drink and you drink somebody else's drink, I might think that's a bit of a red flag. It's usually related to dating, to be fair. So if you go on a date with somebody and they do something nasty or we call that a red flag.
I mean, a red flag, I would say, is a warning sign, basically. You would wave a red flag as a warning. So a red flag is a warning sign. So yes, I get that.
Yeah, I do. I actually use this one. I wonder if it's been around longer than just Gen Z, because this is something I regularly whenever I'm talking about toxic traits, that I actually genuinely use. It's a natural piece of my vocabulary. So I'm going to say I will continue to use that. That makes me cool and modern.
You are down with the kids, Roy.
I am down with the kids. And the last one we're going to use, well, it was one you brought up, which is skibbity. I had never heard. Well, I think it was in the back of my mind, but I would never use skibbity. But you've heard skibbity from your general life.
Yes. Well, my son uses it a lot. Yeah, my son uses it a lot, and I've been teaching children as well, younger children, and they've been saying skibbity a lot. Although when I say it, I'm told off for saying it because I'm not the right person to be saying skibbity, apparently. But my understanding is that it doesn't really have much meaning other than people say it for a comedy effect to make people laugh.
Okay.
But it is based on a Russian character, apparently, from social media.
So how would you use it? Well, you're not allowed to use it, apparently.
I'm not. If you give me permission to use it, I shall say.
I give you permission. Please use it for me.
This podcast is skibbity toilet because that's the full expression. Skibbity toilet.
Doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good.
Do you know what? Really, we need to bring my son in really to explain this one.
We do.
He's not here.
We do.
So,
and this is like the kind of important lesson that we're going to talk about. First of all, I think it sounds unnatural for us to start using it. I mean, you've already been told off. I'm no doubt going to start using some Generation Alpha slang when my son brings some home that I'll start using and he'll tell me off for. And I think slang is very much part of your generation, and you do need to use slang that's current in use, but also age appropriate. And it's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. It's a kind of, I would say slang is a little bit like the clothes you wear, that you need to dress according to the style and age that maybe sort of you have. I don't know how you agree. Would you agree with that?
I would say yes. You pick your slang wisely, and yeah, if it doesn't feel right using it, don't use it. You know.
And the other thing I would say, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a current trend on social media, particularly for kind of companies that are doing marketing, where they get an older lady or an older gentleman or a group of people, and they're all in their 70s and 80s, and they get them using Gen Z slang for humorous effect, for comedic effect. I think it's absolutely brilliant. There was one about saving the local pub, where this old lady came in and said, "Oh, this pub slays, which means it's excellent, it's amazing. And it's so unnatural to hear a little old lady saying slay, but it's so funny and it's a current trend. And I really enjoy that, the fact that, you know, it's enjoyed by all now in that way on social media.
Yes, well, language should be for all, really, shouldn't it? There should be no barriers or boundaries to what words you use, but it does sometimes highlight your age, or the fact you're trying to fit in when it's just not natural.
Absolutely. And if you do want to learn more slang that's not currently in use, but I think are words that you should bring back, check out this lesson on Victorian slang expressions that I absolutely love, that I think should come back into the language. Check that out, enjoy that, and we'll see you in the next podcast.